Hello everyone and welcome to MuleSoft. My name is Jordan Schutz and I work as a developer advocate here at MuleSoft. And in today's video, we're going to be covering how to create your very first API using MuleSoft's Endpoint Studio and then actually deploying that API to MuleSoft's Endpoint platform. If this is your very first experience with MuleSoft, please stay tuned. This is the video for you, and all the links are going to be available in the description below, so that way you can get started and be successful in creating your very first API using MuleSoft's Endpoint platform. To get started, we're going to first require you to create an Endpoint platform account, which you can do on MuleSoft.com, and then you're going to actually have to download Endpoint Studio, which is available for download for Windows, Mac, and Linux. After you've done that and you've successfully completed the installation, when you open up Endpoint Studio, you're going to go to File, New, Mule Project. And for this project, we're going to name it Hello Mule, but since I've already created that project, I'm going to just do a -2. Once you create your new project, you'll see that the Endpoint Studio IDE will split up your view into a few different panes. On the right-hand side, we have the Mule palette, and this is where you can select from hundreds of pre-built connectors from either Exchange or the core components library. And all you have to do is simply drag and drop one of these components into the canvas here located in the middle in order to create a message flow. On the left-hand side, we have a package explorer, and this is where you can view your project structure, you can add and remove files, and you can get an overall holistic view of what libraries are included in your project. On the bottom, we have the Mule Properties Editor and the console, where you can configure attributes of the connectors in your flow, and you can also view logs and catch any errors in your application. Right now, we're not showing the console view in our Endpoint Studio, so in order to fix that, we're going to go up to Window, Show View, and then Show Console. And once we are able to view this console, we'll be able to basically see any logs and catch any errors that our application may create while we're developing our API. So the next step is we're going to actually create an API endpoint. To do this, we're going to need to drag an HTTP listener from the Mule palette into the canvas. So if you go over to the right and you go to the Mule palette, you'll see that the listener component is located here. So all we have to do is just drag and drop this directly into our canvas and our flow will be created. The next step is to go down to the connector configuration. And all you have to do is click the green plus button to the right. What we're setting is that we're setting our API is going to be located at 0.0.0.0 with the port 8081. And if we click test connection, we can see that our endpoint is working. So then we simply click OK. And then under path, we can type Hello Mule, which is going to be the endpoint that our listener is going to listen on. Once we've created our HTTP listener and defined the endpoint path name that we're going to interface with to send post requests to our API, we're then going to go over to the core components library and select the set payload component and drag and drop it directly into our flow. This is going to create the flow so that way when the HTTP listener is hit with a post request, the set payload component will execute. So we're going to go down and we're going to uncheck the FX button. We're going to add the string Hello Mule. Then we're going to go up to File. We're going to save the project. Then we're going to right click on the project and click Run. This is going to start up the Mule runtime engine, and we'll be able to test our API locally before we actually go and deploy it to Cloud Hub. So the next step will be to download your favorite REST client. This can either be Postman or it can be any other REST client that you choose to use. And we're going to open that up, and as you can see, our application has successfully deployed because we get the status deployed message. So now we're going to actually enter in our URL. We're going to change it to a post request. We're going to type 0.0.0. We're going to then add the port number, which we've defined in our HTTP listener. Then we're going to add the endpoint name, which is Hello Mule. We're then going to click the send button. And when we click the send button, you'll see that we've successfully received a 200 OK response from our API that we just created. And the Hello Mule message has appeared because we've defined that in our set payload component. So just like that, it was really that easy to create our very first API with MuleSoft. Now we actually want to deploy this API so that way we can access it with a public URL. So in order to do this, you just right-click on your project, go down to Anypoint Platform, and click Deploy to Cloud Hub. Once you click Deploy to Cloud Hub, it'll open up this screen where you can choose either Sandbox, Production, or Design to deploy your application, and then you can actually define an application name. So keep in mind that this has to be unique to your specific application, so you may need to add some numbers after this in order to successfully deploy your app. All you have to do now is go down to the bottom and click Deploy Application. And when you do this, it'll deploy to Runtime Manager, where then you can manage your application in Anypoint Platform. Once you deploy your project and click Open in Browser, you'll be taken to Runtime Manager in Anypoint Platform, where you can see all of your deployed applications and you can see their current status. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on Hello Mule, and you can see that our API and integration is successfully deployed on this domain. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click, and we're going to copy this URL, and we're going to go into Postman, and we're going to basically paste this URL, and we're going to keep the endpoint Hello Mule, which is where we defined the set payload component. Now we're going to click the Send button, and you'll see that we've successfully received a 200 OK response from now our publicly facing API, and this API is returning Hello Mule in the payload. So just like that, you've published your very first API using MuleSoft's Anypoint platform, and you've created a publicly accessible endpoint that now anyone can access and interface with. And you did this in less than 5 or 10 minutes, which is very impressive. So I really hope that this tutorial helped you. If you have any further questions, please visit the Developer Tutorials homepage, where you can view tons of developer tutorials that will help you get started and master Anypoint platform.